drinking floor bent, was feeling better and hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Nikki, and in today's video I'm giving you guys the update on my challenge that has come to an end. Recently I started up a 45-day challenge to get back on track with my healthy goals, my weight loss routines, and things like that. And I'm gonna get more into detail about it because we are at the end. I finally made it through the 45-day challenge. And that also included my StepBet, which I will talk about, as well as my weigh-in results. So if you enjoyed this video or find it helpful, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. In the description, I can link the video where I originally said I needed a change and I needed something to challenge myself. And I go into more detail about what I was feeling and my exact plans. But now we are 45 days later, actually like 47 or so, because I started the challenge the day after I posted that. And then I've been going since. So I shared my little refresh goals chart here. I just use a Canva file and I change this anytime that I want to do another challenge like this. So I've used this exact form before. I really like crossing out the day when I get things done. So that's just what works best for me. You can see I just have days 1 through 45. And as I got each thing done, I just crossed it out. So for me, that's something that motivates me. It's satisfying at the end of the day. And it's just a reminder that I need to get each thing done. But I did it. I did stick to my goals. I got all 4 things done every single day for 45 days straight. And I'm feeling really good. I wanted to give some updates on each individual thing. But overall, all of these things have really become a habit in that time where I'm back to just really staying on track with them because it just feels like it's my day-to-day thing that I do. So especially for like the meditating, the stretching, even drinking water, it was something that I had just stopped prioritizing. And now that I've been doing it every single day, it's kind of just become like second nature. And I feel weird or like I'm missing out something if I don't do it now. So starting with goal number 1, it was to stretch once a day. And I didn't put on here for 10 minutes, but I set a goal for at least 10 minutes of stretching each day. And that could be at the gym after I finished my workout, or actually I took some deep stretch classes for the first time. I recently had a new gym open up, Vasa Fitness, and they offer these different studio classes. And one of the studio areas they have is Studio Flow, I think it's called. And it's all like yoga and stretching classes. So that was something really stepping out of my comfort zone to do, but I signed up and I ended up doing 2 classes total. It started filling up and getting waitlisted. So I need to sign up way ahead of time if I want to get into those classes again. But it was an hour long of deep stretching and it kind of just gave me some ideas of what I liked and what I could just come home and do too. I did that every day. Usually I would do it at the end of the day if I hadn't done it at the gym. So after I finished dinner and there's some time between like eating and going to bed, I usually did my stretching then. So I would even just like put a show on the TV or something and do 10 minutes of stretching in front of it. I did also start to look up some different YouTube stretching videos, which I really enjoyed, even just like a 10-minute yoga video, and specifically for like my lower back, I thought that that would be the best. That's where I was feeling the most tension and soreness. So I even found some like specific videos for different stretching and it just felt really good to actually stick with it. It is something that I wouldn't prioritize if I didn't have this checklist, but I'm hoping that now that I've gotten into the swing of it and I've been doing it every day, I feel like I'm missing something when I don't. So I really think that it'll help me stick to it. I also just noticed such a difference with my body overall when I actually stay consistent with stretching, especially when I'm lifting at the gym heavier weights and stuff. Okay, my next goal was to meditate for 10 minutes a day. And this one I enjoyed more than I had in the past. Usually I really struggle with meditating, but this time I decided to use a little assistance because what I would do before was just like set a timer and try to sit there by myself, just like in quiet. And I could never focus. I just really struggled with it, with like learning the proper breathing and stuff. So this time around, I started just looking up 10-minute meditation videos on YouTube. And each time I would just follow a different video, but it really helped me to get my breathing in sync and learn how to properly breathe when I'm meditating. It also just gave me something to focus on while I was doing it because I really struggled again to kind of just clear my mind in the past and actually have success meditating. So that was really nice. And I started doing that before bed. There were so many times though that I would fall asleep in the middle of the video. It was that relaxing. So sometimes I'd have to like start it over or wake up and finish where I left off, or sometimes I would just fall asleep doing it. And I didn't technically technically get the full 10 minutes in, but it was working the way that I wanted it to. And I felt like my sleep was so much better on those nights when I wasn't sitting scrolling on my phone till I fell asleep, which is a habit that I really am trying to get out of, and I really try to make an effort not to do, but there are some nights I just end up doing it, and then I feel like I just don't get the best sleep. That really made a difference for my sleep. And even like last night, my challenge was over, but I was like, no, I still need to do my meditation. So it's been really nice to have those videos on YouTube as an option. And like I said, I just would go to search 10-minute meditation for sleep, for stress, for relaxation, like different things that were a little bit more specific, but I found what I liked. And now I feel like, again, that's gonna be a habit that I really stick to. Okay, the next goal that I set for myself was to drink 4 blender bottles a day. That is something that I just try to do in general, but when I started this challenge up, I had mentioned that I was just really slacking on it, and I felt like just having it in writing and as an actual goal would make it easier, and it definitely did. Why I like to do 4 blender bottles, I feel like it's not too overwhelming, and I can just space them out throughout the day, so I know like halfway through my day, if I don't have 2 done, then I need to start drinking more water. It's always a good reminder, and usually that's just the most realistic, with my level of activity, amount of water for me to consume. I made that a focus. I drank 4 blender bottles every single day, and it made me feel much better. It definitely does make a difference when I'm focusing on hydration, but it's just one of those things that it's so easy to kind of neglect, and even more so when it starts to get cold out and I just want like different drinks and like hot chocolate and even just like pop or stuff like that. I crave more like flavored drinks, and when I drink any of those, it's harder for me to actually prioritize water as well. So I felt like I was starting to just like drink more flavored things, and I needed to kind of shift my focus back to having those in moderation, but really prioritizing water. So I did that for 45 days, felt good, and I'm hoping to just stick with that as well, because it's one of those habits that since I started my weight loss, I've consistently tried to drink a certain amount of water each day. It's just changed the cup or water bottle that I like to use. I used to do like a half gallon, then I've switched to like much smaller water bottles, and now I find that the blender bottles are just the perfect size to do for a day. The last goal that I set for myself was to track everything that I eat. I track using Weight Watchers. That's just what I find is most sustainable for me. I prefer the point system, and I like that I don't have to track every single ingredient like 0-point foods. I can just track the things that have point values. And so that is what I did during that time. This is probably the longest streak I've had in my Weight Watchers app in a while. I have a 49-day streak right now. I did it, I tracked every single day, and it really did make a difference, because when I'm tracking, I'm just more aware of everything that I'm eating throughout the day. And I had felt like before I started, I was at a point where I was just like snacking a lot mindlessly and just not paying attention to everything I was consuming, and it wasn't making me feel the best. I felt like I was starting to just feel like even more just like puffy and inflamed, and just like I wasn't paying attention to what I was eating like I had as much in the past. So I was still getting my nutrients, focusing on like protein and fiber, but it was just like the extra stuff. So once I started tracking every day and just being a little bit more aware of what I was actually consuming, it opened my eyes, and it's just helped me to feel better overall. So I'm happy that I stuck with that. I'm going to definitely try to continue my streak going, because that has made me feel much better. I talk a lot about how doing Weight Watchers for years and years, I've kind of just like learned the point values of pretty much everything that I eat at this point, unless it's like a new food item. A lot of the time I just track in my head, but even with that, I was like tracking in my head and then not paying attention to the extra, even like protein bar that I'd eat here and there, or like the different snacks. I'd go in the pantry and just start snacking. So that really helped me with that. I'm hoping to really stick with that, but also kind of keep it a little bit lenient, because I feel like when I get too sucked into that, then I get too like obsessive about it, and I'd like to just have some balance. It's nice to know my points and know where I'm at for the day, and I think that tracking with Weight Watchers has just helped me with that, but that's where I'm at for tracking, and I did do it, which I thought that that one was probably going to be just the hardest to stay consistent with when I hadn't been as consistent with it the past few months. But I got everything done on my list, which means I get to have my reward. And the reward I set for myself this time, I always talk about rewarding myself for consistency. So no matter how much weight I lost throughout this challenge or anything that I couldn't really control, I was able to control that I got all of those things done every single day, and I did it. So I get my reward, which is going to be a nice spa day. I don't know what day I'm doing it. I was thinking about just doing it yesterday, but then I just totally had other things to do and didn't end up doing it. So coming up soon, I'm going to be treating myself to that, and I'm excited for it. I feel like I really could use that. So that's my reward. and I did earn it through my 45-day refresh goal challenge. Another really hard part of this challenge though was that I had hosted my first ever StepBet, and it started right at the same time. I timed it out so that it would be going as the same time I was doing this, and it was a challenge. So really quick, if you don't know what StepBet is, it is an app, and you place a bet of $40 that you will stick to your step goals every single day. You get 2 power days, 4 active days, and 1 rest day each week. So you pretty much get 1 day where you don't have to hit a step goal, but then 6 days of the week you have to get 2 that are pretty high and then 4 that are a little bit higher than your normal steps. And the app takes your previous history from like the past couple weeks into consideration to create your goals. So everybody's goals are different, and that's kind of where I messed up with this. The few weeks before I started my StepBet, I had been playing a lot of pickleball and just even more active than normal, and my steps were much higher than normal. There was definitely like a peak in them that wasn't what I was used to, but those are the step goals that it took into consideration to create my StepBet goals. So my active days that I had to get 4 each week were 16,000 steps, and then my power days were 19,400 steps. It was a challenge to get those. The days that I had to get 19,000, I pretty much felt like I was just walking all day. And there were some days where I planned it out, we went hiking, and I easily got my steps that day. And just when I had certain things that I knew I was gonna be getting my steps, that helped a little bit, but it did require a lot of effort and a lot of hard work to actually stick to it. And I am really proud that I did complete it. It just ended yesterday. Everybody who's still in it, I'm so excited, and I'm proud of everyone who stuck with the challenge. If any of you guys did it, I wanna hear in the comments what you guys thought of it, but I definitely wanna do another one. It was just a little bit harder with the goals that I had set for myself, but it did keep me moving. It did keep me consistent. One of my favorite parts about it was that it did feel like I couldn't sit for too long at any period of time. Like I just wanted to continue getting my steps throughout the day. So there are times where I don't really pay attention and I'm decorating cookies for like a few hours in a row. But with the StepBet, I wanted to make sure to get up and just like every now and then I'd even just walk around the house for like 10 minutes and get 1,000 steps here and there. And I did end up getting a lot of steps just in my house, or especially on my walking pad. That really saved me. I definitely took advantage of that. I didn't like to do any like long periods of time on it, so I would just do like 10 minutes on the walking pad, get back to what I was doing, then go do another 10 minutes, and it ended up working out throughout the day. It was something that like I woke up in the morning and I was like, okay, here goes the countdown. Like I have to start, because it had to be a priority each day to be able to get those steps. But honestly, that's exactly what I needed, especially during this time of year. I'm really consistent with walking when it's nice out, but as it starts to get colder, it is so much harder to be consistent with it. And with the weather, I just struggle to get out and get moving. It did really help me in that aspect, and it really just kept me motivated. And even having the community of everyone else doing it, I felt like I didn't want to be like, this is too much of a challenge, but other people thought it was a challenge too. And it just felt good to be able to connect with others, to push ourselves to just be better and to honestly feel better. It felt really good to get that much movement throughout the past month and a half. So overall, I'm definitely going to do another StepBet. It's just hopefully my goals are a little bit less, because that's more realistic. I feel like even if it would have been like 14,000 for my active days and 17,000 for my power days, that still would have been a challenge, but it wouldn't have been as much of like me having to obsess over getting it done each day. But I did it and I feel really good about it. I really appreciate if you guys joined me. And if you weren't able to do this one, there will be some in the future, so look out for that. I think I'm going to wait until after the holidays here and then start one right at the beginning of 2026, which I can't believe it's 2026, but look out for that, and I'll keep you guys updated if I do host another StepBet, because it was a really good challenge and it really did keep me motivated. Okay, now getting to my weigh-in results really quickly. So that was not the main focus of this challenge. I did mention in my video where I talked about needing a change that it was kind of eye-opening that I got on the scale, and it was higher than I had seen it in a while. And that really made me want to kind of get back refocused, but I wasn't aiming for a certain goal. And even if I didn't lose weight, I wasn't going to be upset. As long as I was feeling better and actually sticking to these habits, that was really the main goal of this. In that video, I mentioned that I weighed in at 197. I'm also 6 feet tall, just so you guys know. I feel like I need to mention that every time I say my weight, but I was 197, and then at the end of the challenge now I'm at 191. So 6 pounds down, not a huge loss, but I wasn't expecting to have much of a huge loss. Honestly, if anything, I think it's partially just some water weight from actually focusing more on like less snacking and stuff, less sodium, and just inflammation from that. But also I do think that just refocusing and paying attention to what I was tracking did help in that short amount of time. I just recently posted on Instagram that the scale is just a number. It's something that I don't like to let fully control me and my mind when it comes to like my progress and stuff, because it can be really discouraging. What I like to do is compare how I look in my progress pictures when I'm even a lower weight, but I don't look as toned because I have focused more on weightlifting and just being more active. So even if the scale doesn't reflect it because I've built more muscle, I see the progress, and I'll show the pictures on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about, where I weigh more, but I'm more toned. And so that's why I don't focus too much on the scale and that number. I'm happy in the range that I'm in right now. I was happy to see that I was down 6 pounds, but it's not the main reason I did this. Overall, I'm just feeling much better being more on track with things. So like I said, I do plan to do another StepBet, and I'll keep you guys updated if I do that or when I do that. I'm guessing it'll be early in the new year. When it comes to this challenge, I do plan to stick with, first of all 4 of my refresh goals that I did. I really need to prioritize the stretching. I don't think that's gonna change. I really have been feeling just better overall when I prioritize it. So that one should be an easy one to stick to. The meditating also has made such a difference for me that I didn't expect. So I'm really enjoying that, and I'll definitely continue that. Even if it's just before bed, like I said, watching one of those videos, or there were sometimes throughout the day where I would just stop and take 10 minutes to try to do it. But I found that it was best at the end of the day when I was kind of like winding down. Drinking 4 blender bottles will definitely still be a priority, and then tracking. If I don't stick with tracking every single day, it's not that big of a deal, but I do think it makes a difference to actually pay attention and be aware of what I'm consuming. I also think a part of this with my weigh-in and stuff is that we just recently got a new gym, like I had mentioned, and because of it, there's a lot of new equipment that I've been using, and I've had like a whole new motivation for getting back into working out. So that started November 1st was when they opened, and I've really been pushing myself in the gym more than normal, and I feel like that has also played a big part in it, and maybe why I didn't lose more weight during this challenge, because I've also really been pushing myself in the gym. So I think that that's going to continue to be my focus now throughout the winter. I feel like in the winter I start to get way more motivated in the gym versus like outdoor activity, of course, because it's cold out. I'm excited to push myself and continue trying out new machines and just really challenging myself at the gym. So that's my plan with that. I also do plan to keep up with my steps for the next month until I start the next StepBet. At this point now, it's just trying to get minimum of 10,000 steps a day. I've got a Fitbit streak of like 200 days of 10,000 steps, so I just try to keep that up, but I'm not really pushing myself to anything more than that right now, so that'll be good. Although getting used to walking that much, I feel like I'm still just gonna be in that mindset that like I need to get 16,000 steps today. We'll see how that goes. It is kind of harder to walk outside now that it's super cold and snowy and everything, but I still have my walking pad, and like I said, I even was just walking more and more around the house. But that is where I'm at after my challenge. If you guys missed it, I did post a video on Friday of my Q&A answering all the questions I just got from a recent community post where I asked you guys for them. So I'll link that in the description as well in case you missed it. It's a pretty long one. I know this one today is gonna be a little bit shorter, but it was like an hour long of me answering a lot of questions, and I just always enjoy doing those and just having the answers all in one spot for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this and found it helpful. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.